Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. Bex here today in my ugly Christmas sweater. It has ornaments on it, so if you hear any weird jingling noises, it's the sweater. I thought this would be a great top to wear for this video because I'm doing the Christmas Traditions book tag. This was created by Heather over at Reading with a Vengeance. She did the tag again this year. She originally created it last year. I thought it might be fun to do to get me and potentially you feeling a bit more festive. It is also actively snowing outside right now. It's very dark outside. You wouldn't know that it's like 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but at least it's snowing, so it fits right in. Each of these questions has a Christmas theme to it, but the answer is always going to be a book. There are 12 questions total, so let's get started. First question is red, gold, and green colors, a book with any combination of those colors on the cover. For this, I have to choose Paradise Falls by Keith O'Brien. We have a very bright green, not traditionally a Christmas green, but yeah, red spine. And then we've got the red sort of in this part as well. This was the only book that I saw on my shelves that actually had red and green in this combination, which makes sense because I don't have any like Christmas themed books on my shelves, but I saw this and I was like, yeah, you'll do. This is actually a pretty serious book. It's nonfiction. It's about Love Canal, which is a place in Niagara Falls, New York, and about the poisoning of the water and the land in that community. Very good book. Read it this year and gave it 5 stars. The next prompt is carol singing. What is your favorite Christmas carol? And it says pick a book with a title that includes a word from the song title. So my favorite Christmas carol, I guess, is Carol of the Bells. It's kind of creepy. It just, yeah, I love the vibe of it. And so I was looking for books that had carol or bells because of the is not gonna fly as an answer. So turns out I have no books that I have read or even on my wish list that have the word carol or bells in them. So I went for the next best thing I could do, which is the author's name. So I have here one person, no vote, which is written by Carol Anderson. So that first name works for this. This one is about voter suppression in the United States and how it's destroying democracy. And I haven't read this one yet. So it's on my TBR still. And it was actually given to me for Christmas one year, I believe. So also kind of fits, but yeah, the only way I could get carol or bells was Carol in the author's name. Number 3 is Christmas Trees, Wreaths, and Evergreen Foliage, a book that features nature as a character. And for this, I chose Underland, A Deep Time Journey by Robert McFarlane. I read this book originally for the BookTube Prize a few years ago, and this was actually the first book that I thought of. As soon as I read that prompt, this popped into my head. This is nonfiction, natural science focused, and it talks about different things kind of under the earth, within the earth, and there's people in it that are focused on, that kind of study these topics or have done things related to these natural science areas, but it has this feeling to it where earth and nature kind of feel very majestic. 2 things that stick out in my mind from this book is the wood wide web, which is like the root systems of trees and how they communicate with each other even if they're not the same type of tree. And then also cave diving, like that part gave me goosebumps reading about cave diving because whoo, yeah, but all about things kind of under us in the earth, and for that looking at that huge time that Earth has existed as well. And so that's the reason why this book just popped right into my head when I read this prompt. Next is Sending Cards, a favorite epistolary book you read this year or want to read next year. So I haven't read any epistolary books this year, and I don't have any on my list that I'm aware of that I want to read next year or in the future at all. So I was looking at books that are epistolary, and Dracula is apparently epistolary. So that one is, it's not on my official TBR, but I would never say no to the potential of picking up Dracula, so I'm using it as the answer for this question. So Dracula by Bram Stoker. Number 5 is Mistletoe, a book that features unrequited love. This is another one that I struggled with a little bit because I could not think of what books have I read that feature unrequited love. And then obviously there could be some on my TBR bookshelf here, but nothing that I know of, obviously. So I have a bit of a weird answer here. And I picked The Hunger Games because of the first book, specifically the first book in this case, because Peeta has this so-called unrequited love for Katniss, and they play it up during, you know, the Hunger Games and all that. So yeah, Peeta's unrequited love for Katniss in the original Hunger Games book is my answer for this question. Santa Claus, a book that features a character who's odd and or a little frightening, but they're endearing anyway. For this one, I chose Ellie from Let Me In. Ellie is definitely a bit frightening and a bit odd. Ellie is a girl that Oscar, our main character, meets one evening while he's hanging out on the playground of his apartment complex, and something is just off with Ellie. She doesn't smell very good. She doesn't seem to understand references to modern day things that most kids would be aware of. And yeah, it turns out Ellie's not exactly human. It's very dark. There's a lot of horror, creepiness to it, but Ellie in the end is sort of an endearing character, and the bond that she has with Oscar is, it's nice to read about, and so in that way it is endearing. Nativity Scenes, a family-based historical fiction. I have read 3 Kate Morton books so far, and each of them revolves around family history, family secrets, dual timelines. You have a character that may or may not be directly related to the story that's being told in the past, and everything is all interconnected. So I think she's a great example of a family-based historical fiction. I picked The Forgotten Garden because it's my favorite of the 3 that I've read. So if you are looking to pick up a Kate Morton book, I would highly recommend The Forgotten Garden. Elf on a Shelf, a book on your shelf that catches your eye all the time, but you never pick it up. For this, I have to say The Secret Lives of Color by Cassie St. Clair. The way my TBR bookshelf is set up right now, this is actually facing outwards, so I'm seeing the colorful stripes every day. Previously, I was just seeing the spine here, which is pretty, but not as pretty. And so this, of course, catches my eye all the time, but I still haven't picked it up. Even the inside is beautiful, like the pages are colored, and this just talks about different colors and like the story behind them and where these various colors came from. So it's a very niche sort of book, but it is so very, very pretty. It'd be one of those things that I could easily just like pick up, read a little bit, put it down each night at my bedside table, but I haven't done that yet. The next prompt is Christmas movies, favorite adaptation, or a book you would like to see adapted. For this, I decided to go with the book I would like to see adapted, and that is To Be Taught If Fortunate by Becky Chambers. This is a book that I read this year. It is a sci-fi novella. It's my first Becky Chambers, and I absolutely loved it. This book did more in like 130 pages than some books do in 400. The story was well-paced. You learned so much about the characters, how they felt for each other, how they cared for each other, dealing with this kind of situation where they've left Earth to go exploring other planets, and the time that has passed while they're in this sort of cryo sleep means that they're never going to see their families again. Earth will not be the same when they return, and so there's this emotional weight to it, and you're also getting to see these different sci-fi planet elements. I just thought it was so good, so well done. I really thought I was going to like it, and I'm so glad that I did. But because this tackles such beautiful, deep topics, I would really love to see it adapted into a film or a mini series. I think it's possible. There's been plenty of good sci-fi adaptations recently that I think someone could make this happen. The third to last prompt is Ugly Sweaters, a book that made you laugh out loud. I couldn't really think of something immediately, so I'm scrolling through my Goodreads, and nothing recently that I could recall really made me laugh out loud. And then I remembered that many years ago, like 2017, I listened to the audiobook of Born a Crime by Trevor Noah, and because Trevor narrates the book, and it's about his life, and he's doing the voices, the accents, and everything, I'm sure that I at least chuckled while listening to this book. I think hearing someone say it can sometimes make it that much funnier, so the chances of me laughing out loud while listening to this book were quite high, and it's really just such a good audiobook in general, even if you're not looking for something funny. But I know that there were funny moments, serious moments too, but definitely funny moments in this book as well. Second to last, we have Eggnog, a book you love that everyone seems to hate, or vice versa. I went with a book that I seem to really like and other people seem to hate, and that is Leave the World Behind by Rumaan Alam. I think people were expecting one thing with this book and ended up getting another. I picked it up as the initial hype was dying down, so I was aware that the expectations that people had for it weren't really being met, and so I went into it with tempered expectations and ended up really liking it. It made me think and kind of get that sort of off vibe. So this is about a family that's renting a home outside of New York City, and then some weird stuff starts happening. The family that owns the home shows up and says they've left New York City because like the power's out, things are getting weird, and they're all sort of holed up in this home together, but they really don't understand what's going on. Like even where they are, there's no like television. I think the cell service is down as well, so they just can't get any answers. And I think people were expecting to get answers from this, and they didn't. It's one of those books that doesn't give you a good explanation for what the heck is going on, and I think people were looking for that, whereas I knew that I probably wasn't going to get that explanation, so I was fine with how it ended up. So I gave this 4 stars, but I think the average rating on Goodreads is like, it's definitely way lower than that. The final prompt is Exchanging Gifts, a book you read this year and thought this would be perfect for. And in this case, I'm choosing a book that I think Les would really like, since she's, my booktube partner in crime. And for her, I am recommending Neither Snow Nor Rain, A History of the United States Postal Service by Devin Leonard. I know Les loves her USPS. She sends me cards through the mail. I know she writes letters with people. She just really likes utilizing the Postal Service. So I think she would appreciate this book because it would give her a really big overview of the history of USPS, but also like snippets of other postal services around the world. And it gives you a lot of those like little nitty-gritty stories that somebody who's really interested in the topic would appreciate. So yeah, for that reason, I recommend this book to her. The last little thing is not actually a prompt. It just says Christmas cookies, share by tagging some friends. I'm not going to tag anybody. I mean, I guess Les, if you wanted to do this, you could, but I'm not going to tag anybody else specific. So if you have any comments regarding the books that I used as answers to these prompts, or if you've done this tag as well, let me know in the comments below. As always, all of our links are in the down bar. You can go check those out as well. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later.